start, we're going to start with a hexagonal sheet of paper. And what we're going to do is a series of hill and valley folds so that we get a kind of a folded up triangle, like so, on each side. Like that. So we have the center at the apex of the triangle, and we have each of the sides forming the base of the triangle. So what we're going to do then is we're going to fold down each of these sides, or corners really, so that we have, and this is very similar to the lily fold. In fact, most of the folds we're going to be doing here are going to be very similar to the lily fold. So there's one. Two. Three. Four. Now, you should end up with something that looks a bit like this. All of the corners of the hexagon are now folded up and form, these are ultimately going to be the petals, the outer petals of our daffodil. Okay. Now, what, again, similar to the lily, we're going to take these corners and we're going to fold them up and kind of invert the sides to allow that. It's a little bit trickier than doing the lily because these sides are shorter, but nonetheless, with a little bit of skill and patience, it can come out nice. So it started like this, and it's folded up and in like that, and then I just fold it down when I'm done. Okay. Now, this is what you should have. You should have all your petals folded, much like you would have done a lily, and they're all folded in the down position. Now, what we're going to do now is the tricky part and the main difference between the daffodil and the lily. We're going to basically unfold the whole sheet of paper. Well, no, we're not. We're going to mark off here, roughly an inch down or so. You're going to mark off by just creasing as hard as you can. A spot on the paper. Then we're going to open the whole thing up, and you're going to see that that crease has now formed a ring, and we're going to invert that center part. Now, what I find is that it's best if you just kind of go through and reinforce that initial marking crease with some firmer creases on each of the sides here, so that you get a nice ring shape. Now what we want to do is we want to refold everything, but now the center part we want to fall into the inside. So the way I do that is I go around and I reinforce the outer folds like I need them, and that will kind of push the inner folds to where they need to go. But it fights a little bit because we basically just trained the inside of the paper to fold one way, and now we're telling it to go the other. But nonetheless, if you just kind of retrain it, oops, it will get there. Okay. So, once you've kind of retrained it a little bit, then you need to get a little tougher with it, and maybe fix this little area here and push it in further until you're back to your original shape, but now with a pushed in center. I'm just going to go back and fix this a little bit here. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to set this down on the table and just reinforce the shape really strongly and push those creases in a little bit. Alright, now you should have a shape that looks much like we had, but now has a inverted inner part. And don't worry so much about this little uneven bit. It will be, you won't even notice it in a bit. Anyway, so now that you've done that, the next step is simply to take each one of these petals and fold it down like so. Leave a little bit of space between the inner parts, because you're going to have to fold it together in a minute. Just a little bit though. I'm going to do this for all 6 of the outer petals. Okay, now you should have a shape that looks largely like this. All the outer petals are at the top. They're now folded even thinner than they were earlier. Now just let's take the petals down and fold them back out nice and neatly. I have to say, because of my pace, this fold is coming out a little bit sloppy, but I suspect it'll make a nice daffodil anyway. Real life flowers aren't perfect, and nor should their origami counterparts be. Okay, this is the final petal I'm putting down. Okay, now I'm gonna make them all kind of stick out just by pulling them out. For those of you who have worked on the lily, you should recognize your work. It should look quite a bit like a lily at this point, although with shorter petals. Alright, so now we have essentially a 6-leafed lily with a truncated stem, but that's not what our goal is. What I would like to do now is fold these little things down. I find that it helps the integrity of the final flower a little bit. So I just go around in circles and I fold them in half. And this side of the flower won't be seen much anyway. This is the back side of the flower. Okay, so now I've done that. Now, let's focus on this part. So here we go. We have now our folded in stem part. I'm going to force it out a little bit, but I'm going to be careful. I don't want the area between these adjacent faces to come out. I want just the faces themselves. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to fold, just kind of crease the that a little bit on each of the sides adjacent to the petals, and try not to allow the space between them come apart. So, like that. You kind of work your way around, doing that more and more, so that you slowly start to expand the front of the flower out, like so. And there we have a bit sloppy, but nonetheless a lovely origami daffodil. Thank you.